Here are the voices of the faithful men and women who use their skills, their ministries, and their gifts to help people hear the Lord's words and walk in His ways. Here are the gatekeepers.
It's a joy to have a hardworking man of God back on the Gatekeepers again. David Van Fleet is with a ministry in New York City. Street Light. Is it Street Light or Street Life? I keep making that mistake, David.
L-I-F-E in capitals, life.
That's right, and that's because he is all about life. He proclaims Jesus Christ to the highways and byways and anyone who will hear, doing street ministry and not just sharing the good news, but also helping people with daily bread and just survival. David Van Fleet, brother, always good to talk with you. How many years are you doing this for the uninitiated?
We've been in the New York region now. We moved in 1990, so we're right at a little over 30 years, and Street Life began in 97, so we're in a 21st, 22nd year here.
And good. The Lord sustained you guys. What is a team like? What is the ministry like? Who are the men and women who volunteer and co-labor with you in Street Life?
Well, right now, of course, it's Robin and I, and then we have two full-time. Carol, who's been with us 17 years, and her uncle, who came a year ago, is here. So it's just four of us on full-time staff, but then we have a number of volunteers locally that are a part of us, and some that come from King's Fellowship, which is our Sunday night meeting where we pray, we worship, we have a meal together, and take communion and share the word of the Lord together. So we have some folks that come from that as well, and then just others locally, especially lately more. We had some folks come because a lot of people are out of work and looking for opportunities, so we've had some extra help. But we're always trusting God for more full-time staff, interns, and volunteers, especially as we start to open up a little bit more now here in the fall.
We're going to talk about that, how people can get involved and what the future looks despite this COVID attack of the enemy. So let's go back in time, little time machine action, my brother. What prompted you to go out and tell people about Jesus? Obviously, you got saved. So you got a 60-second testimony, and then talk about the birth of Street Life Missions, and then I've got another question about what a day looks like, a typical day for your ministry. Let's go back in time first, David.
Sure. Well, again, July 12th, 1980, on the Jersey Shore, a place called Ship Bottom, which is on Long Beach Island. I was not seeking God. I wasn't humble, repentant, broken, but I had received a prophetic word 3 months to the day before that, saying that I would have an Acts 9 experience and meet the Lord and be radically turned and changed. And sure enough, during that, we went down for a week's vacation to simply swim in the ocean and get high and drunk every day. And that Saturday, the Lord showed up in my room at 11 o'clock at night and did exactly as the word of the Lord, which was Acts 9, which is where Saul meets the Lord, gets tossed off his horse, and has a radical experience, and the rest, as they say, is history. For him, who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, and of course my life now 40 years later, doing exactly what he told me I would do on that night, that I would marry the girl who hated me, named Robin, I would preach the gospel to the nations, and that I would worship and play music and teach others to worship in the nations. And so here we are, all these years later, in the city of nations, with more ethnicity represented than any place in the earth, in the most ethnically diverse town in all the earth here in Flushing, with over 150 languages and people groups, and love for the lost, love for the poor, love for the hurting, love for those that most people don't want and have nothing to do with and refuse to go to. Because I was one of them, that's why I love to go, because I know that there's hope in Christ, and with God all things are possible. So we want to go to those that nobody else wants. I believe in a very simple thing. It's a hashtag. It's called Be One to Reach One. And I was one that God reached. He left the 99 and came after me. So now we do the same. We leave the 99 and go after the one. And so it's a joy. It's a passion, because it simply responds to the love of God in my life, that now we give it back to him by going after those that he bled and died for, rose again for, and longs to come and be a part of his eternal family.
Wow. Wow. Well said. Okay, let's take a look at a typical day and a not typical day with Street Life Ministries in Queens. Kind friend, give us a typical day of what the team will do, and then also to give us what it's like when you do a major campaign and you have volunteers and stuff. Let's start with every day serving Jesus. How does it look?
This year is a little different because of COVID, but we are all about worship, all about prayer, all about right relationship with God. So every day there is worship and prayer. Every day there's private times alone with the Lord. But during the COVID, whereas everybody else had what they call the rest and reset, we've been exactly the opposite, because we are now feeding hundreds more men and 1,000 families a week or more, 3 to 4 times a week right here in Flushing, with the men that are on Northern Boulevard, which are basically migrant or day laborers, many of them illegal, of course, but they're out there wanting to work and nobody's hiring. A little bit more now maybe, but we're able to go. We bag up hundreds and hundreds of bags of groceries every week and go out 3 to 4 days a week and serve the men and their families for a number of months. We're always on the Lower East Side of Manhattan Tuesdays, but we added a Thursday when all the churches were closed and all the food pantries were closed. And so we were the only thing happening for about 3 months, and now that's starting to pick up. And so some churches are opening in pantries, so we're back to doing our Tuesdays where we serve anywhere from 100 to 200 men and women. We bring out food, clothing, care packs, hygiene kits, and always ready to refer them to whatever their most heartfelt need is of the moment. And so that's always on. That's an average, every week, and has been for years. I've been going in that park now for over 30 years and consistently with our own trucks since 1998. So we do have volunteers that come out and help bag some of these things and go out and do outreach with us. We've seen other churches involved. We've been involved with Mennonite disaster crews to help provide food and clothing, and other local churches here that are wanting to feed. We do a lot of going into people's houses and delivering food as well. We do what we call that loving drive-by with the men on Northern Boulevard. But then we also do home as well, because of some people that just don't have a lot of funding, no money, no rent, and so we've been going to people's homes. We're hoping now in another few weeks when we come back from break to start in again with Beautiful One, which is our ministry to the massage parlors and many of the Chinese trafficked women. They've been shut down. Many have shut down completely. Others have left and moved. But it's now looking like in the next couple of weeks that's going to start up again, so we can go and continue to prayer walk and minister and take gifts and love to the ladies that are there. And we're looking, God, to raise up more Mandarin-speaking women to join with us to help interpret and to love. And so that would be a major prayer that we would ask that some of your listeners would be involved in with us. We've had to shut down some other things. Children's ministry in the parks has basically been non-existent, but now that's going to open up a little, and we're hoping we can do that again come the fall when we come back. We take a few weeks off now just to visit friends and family and churches, try to raise up some more money, and we get to go and visit some of our kids and grandkids down south. So that's what's happening basically every day and ongoing until this little break we're taking now, and then we come back and we start it all over again.
Talking with David Van Fleet of Street Life Ministries in New York City. And David, you know what, man, you're a courageous brother. I remember back in the days, early on, with a whole bunch of, Dennis Neasley and let's see, oh my goodness, the brothers and sisters who did street ministry from Lower Alphabet City.
Yep.
I mean, I remember, going to classes about doing street evangelism and outreach and stuff. And, you were always like a on fire brother, and you've kept at it. I'm so proud of you, David. I'm just seriously, man, you're like a hero. And so, okay, brother, listen, tell people how they can learn more about your ministry, how they can find out more about your ministry. Surely you've got like numbers and emails and web pages and Facebooks and all that jazz. Sure. Load us up.
Yep. Well, the first thing is the web page is important. It's streetlife.org. So that's STREETLIFE.org. And you can also find us on Facebook, the same. Just make sure it shows the step van in New York City, because there's another ministry that stole our name about 6 years after we started out in California. So make sure you go to Street Life Ministries NYC. You'll find us there. It's SLM Streets on Twitter. You'll find us there, and also Instagram. The phone number is 718-539-2324, and you can get to me directly. Email with slm at streetlife.org. And so you'll catch all those different things. They're all available. And if you just get to the website, all the rest is on there as well. You can sign up for the monthly GoDaddy newsletter, keep you apprised of what we're doing, as well as if you're on the fan page for Street Life, we're putting stuff up all the time about outreaches we do all the time, prayer requests for people that we're ministering to, and encourage you to do so. Go there. And if you want to serve, just give us a yell. If you'd like to bring a team, just give us a yell. If you'd like to do an internship, we would love to have you. And God willing, more full-time staff will be coming too. Because remember, this is a day and an hour in which to arise and shine, for the glory of the Lord is upon you, not a day to sit home and just hang out in your house. This is a time for the harvest like never before. So let's not sit in the middle of the harvest. Let's get involved.
Well said, David Van Fleet. Recently, too, the Tri-State Voice newspaper did some sort of an article about you, and people can read that article by going to tristatevoice.com.
Right.
Tell us about the article. What was the reason for the story?
Well, we did that in March, probably mid-March, when things were just starting to get really crazy. And I've known Tom off and on for a number of years. So he had read some of the things that were going on, and he wanted to share about us with others. It took a little while to get it out there because he's had a lot of other stuff he's writing, but he did a good job. It's out there, and again, people can read that on his Facebook page, or just if you go right to tristatevoice.com, you'll be able to grab that as well. So it was short and sweet, but he did a great job, and we're blessed to be able to share all the things that the Lord is doing and wanting to do, and will continue to do through anybody who puts him to the test to find out that he's faithful and true.
Ain't that the truth? Wow. David, please, if you don't mind, how can somebody listening, someplace far away, or maybe in another country they're listening right now to the gate, how can somebody replicate what you're doing in their town, in their city, in their neighborhood, in their country? Give us your opinion about that.
Well, I would say if you get on the webpage and you see the things that we're involved in, there are really not a whole lot of different things. People have been doing these kind of things for years. Open-air preaching was popular back in Wesley's day and George Whitfield's day. Serving the poor has been on since the beginning of time, because there's always poor. Even Jesus said you'll always have the poor among you. What I simply say is give your life to Christ and ask him what he'd have you to do. And the first thing he says to do, just go, don't mess around with it. Don't try to figure it all out. Don't think you got to have a lot of people or a lot of money. God is raising up Gideons today more than he ever has. And part of that is first recognizing what God says about us, and our identity is far better and more important than anything we think about ourselves. And he'll put you to the test. You will have to drag out some idols. You may have to put down some false gods. You might have to do it in your own home like he did, and then he'll only give you a few people maybe to work with to start. But a God like that doesn't need the 32,000, the 10,000. He didn't even have to have 300, but he chose 300, and he beat back a team so big. And so I encourage you guys, be a Gideon today. Take the calling that God has for you and go forth and watch God do what God does best, which he always does the best with just the few.
That's right. Wow. An absolute joy to hear all this. And that's pure gospel and a pure, perfect charge from the Lord through you, David Van Fleet. Yes.
Thank you, buddy.
So, kind friend, as we wrap up, I'm going to ask this brother to share a prayer request and to repeat how we can reach him. David, how do we pray for you?
Well, I would say the one thing that's been amazing God has been providing during this time, because we've had no teams but one small team from North Dakota of a family of 6 from 3 generations, and they had a blast. But almost everybody else, they all canceled, so no teams, no money. But God is bigger than that, and so he's been providing. We've seen increase from United Way. We've seen increase from other people, even some churches and ministries to help us during this time. So we're praying that God would supply continuously, because it doesn't look like teams are coming yet, though we're praying for them to come, that God would provide financially, provide the food that we need.
Yes.
So we can keep feeding hundreds and thousands every week. And also, we do want interns, and we do want teams to come back. So even if you're just local and you want to come in for a day, that would be huge, to do a prayer station or to go to the Lower East Side with us, or practical stuff. So those are the areas to pray. But the best one and the biggest one is that everything we do would be pleasing to the Lord, and that his face would shine and his favor surround us like a shield.
David Van Fleet with Street Life Ministries. Okay, give us one last time some way of reaching you on the internet. Quick.
www.streetlife.org. Everything's there. You'll find us on Facebook as well.
An honor to talk with you and to serve with you, good brother. God bless you.
Thank you so much, George. Appreciate it. Blessings to you.
This is Gatekeepers.
Thank you for listening to Gatekeepers. Please keep our guests in prayer. For more information about our guests and their ministries, email us, thegateradio@ihopeg.org, or call us at 844-GATE-247. That's 844-428-3247.